Okay, it's leg day, everybody. Squat day, in other words. And just warming up real quick with some close squats. Not a big fan of big, long warm-ups. I really don't warm up very much myself. I mean, here, you're looking at it. Big believer in the idea of stay lightly active throughout the day, join circles, practice muscle tension. If you do this a little bit all day, every day, you shouldn't need long, drawn warm-ups before your workout. In fact, if you feel like you do need it, it may be a sign that you need to be a little bit more active or treating your body with some more tension and movement throughout the day. Anyway, so you can see the slow grinder sets, pistol squats. First set is usually the hardest one when it comes to my single leg squats. Getting a little bit more balance, a little more stable. Here, what I'm trying to do is keep a lot more tension around my hips, particularly the inside of my hips, outside of my hips, the underside, making the hips dominant. This is one of the things I'm talking about where when it comes to muscle tension, one of the biggest things that hold people back from building much muscle and strength is they don't have very good muscle tension skills, and they're not working on trying to keep tension going. So if you're sitting at a desk all day or in a car and whatnot, you are literally training your hips to be basically dead. They're not turning on very much. So then when you go and do your workout, you've trained your hips to not work very much, and you're not going to use them enough during your workout, and it sets off all sorts of imbalances and whatnot. So you can see I got a little cramping going on. My right leg is by far my weakest leg. This is due to a number of injuries just over the years. A lot of people ask me, how do I get a weaker limb on par with a stronger limb? The fact of the matter is everybody's got a stronger limb and a weaker limb. It's always going to be there. Your mission is to get them a little bit more balanced out, which is one of the things that these unilateral exercises are good for. But you're never going to be perfectly balanced. In fact, if you think you're perfectly balanced, I would even argue that chances are you don't have enough of an awareness of the difference between the two. So there's always going to be a difference, but minimize the difference over time. And I'm struggling with a little bit of crampage. One of the big benefits of the single leg in the pistol squats is you've got to lift up the other leg, which one of your quadricep muscles is partially responsible for. So that's what's cramping on me now, because of course I started on my left leg. That quadricep was working really hard. I brought it to a pretty good state of fatigue, and now it's got to work even more to keep the leg up. Going with the explosive movements now, just simple jump squats, working on keeping the big range of motion at all three joints in the lower body. So I'm working at getting as much motion in the hips as I can, as much bend in the knees as possible, and as much flexion in the ankle as possible. When you get more tension and more range of motion at all three joints, it spreads out that tension. And a lot of times things like knee pain or shin issues and whatnot happen because we have too much tension around the knees or too much tension around, or we're too stiff around a single joint. So holding in the isometric, just a low squat. It's a little bit narrower than I did last week. So now it's a slight progression. Again, I'm still trying to keep the tension as even throughout my squat chain as possible. I'm not trying to emphasize any particular muscles here. I know a lot of people say, oh, squats are quadricep exercise or hip exercise, glute exercise, all of them. The goal with these squats is to make pretty much every muscle in the leg work to at least some degree. So the muscles in your shins, your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your inner thigh, your outer thigh, your hip flexors, all of that working as much as you can. You may feel a little more in certain muscles, like I'm ironing out my quads here. It's a technique I use in ski training to try and just get them to recover as best as I can. Again, I'm trying to time my rest periods. I got about a minute of rest in between, so I know the clock is ticking. I'm not getting myself distracted, going around the gym, being social, whipping out the cell phone, getting on Facebook, or any of that nonsense. I'm staying focused. I'm staying committed to the exercise, and as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing else going on in the world that's worth my attention outside of my workout for the next few sets. So we got our grinders here, second set, slow, smooth, consistent pistol squats. Right now, my mind is thinking of what did I learn from my first set that I'm now trying to change in my second set. Was it more inner thigh activation? Was it pushing my hips over to the left just a little bit? Was it trying to keep a little bit more tension in the back? What about my hand position? Where are my hands? Are they going to the left, to the right? Am I extending out further? Am I tensing the abs? These are the sorts of things that are the essence of your training. Don't just go through the motions. There's no guarantee that you're going to get stronger or build muscle just because you're doing an exercise or just because you're doing it a certain way. You can do it correctly according to textbook form, but that doesn't really matter. If your brain isn't actively trying to improve some aspect of your technique during every single rep of every workout you do, then chances are very good nothing will ever improve for you. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll still maintain where you're at. But the essence of training and getting stronger is your brain saying, what am I working on during this rep? What am I working on right exactly now? What am I working on when I go halfway down in the rep? What am I working on at the bottom of the rep? At the top of the rep? How is my muscle tension changing? Where is my body position? How am I moving my arms differently from one rep to the next? What's happening when I get fatigued? So see, I got a little bit of a twist there. So right now my mind is making notes of these things, saying that's the thing I need to work on in order to get bigger and stronger. It's not always about weight or even technique or repetitions. It's what are you working on? Up and down I go. See? It's not the perfect rep, and again, my right leg is the weaker leg. Back into the explosive, the jumping here, I'm paying attention. Where's my weight distribution between my 2 feet? Where's my weight distribution on my foot? More towards the ball of the foot, more towards the heel. What toes have more weight on them? Is there a little bit more weight towards my big toe, my small toe? What's the difference between those two things, between the 2 feet? How is that changing as I'm getting tired? Now, how is it changing in the isometric? What's going on with my all 3 joints in the isometric? There are hundreds of things you can potentially pay attention to with every exercise you ever do. And you got to pay attention and try and focus on building and improving at least 1 or 2 things at all times, because it's not the exercise that gets you stronger. It's not the workout that gets you stronger. It's the progression of the exercise that gets you stronger. And you will never progress one tiny bit if your mind isn't looking for things to improve all the time, constantly, never ending. Once again, no edits here because I want you to see how my actual workouts are. This is the squat workout, of course, and this is one of my longer workouts, of course, because you're unilateral. You got to do a set on one leg and you do a set on the other. It's a little bit faster when you have a bilateral exercise like the pull-ups that I was showing earlier this week. So just waiting out, watching that minute tick by. I'm out here on the patio here at the gym. This is a nice patio that we have. Sometimes it's like being in an oven, though. That Colorado sun is just absolutely brutal. So I'm taking advantage of this beautiful morning here before the sun comes out. It's nice and cool in the 70s. A rare treat out in these Colorado mornings, not come out and feel like you're in a blast furnace. All right, last set. This one's going to get ugly, folks. Won't lie. The more fatigued you get, the more your technique will erode. It happens. It's the way your body works. You're not going to perform as well when you're tired as when you're fresh. And if you do, it means you're either A, not terribly tired, or B, your techniques suck to begin with. So always be looking for how's your technique eroding under fatigue? How are you doing things differently? And those are the things you need to be working on to get bigger and stronger. What's your balance like? Where's the muscle activation changing? How is your technique modifying as you get more tired? These are the answers that you need. People ask me all the time, how do I get stronger? How do I improve this? How do I get more reps? What is changing under fatigue? That's what you need to improve on. When you find the things that are changing under fatigue, that's your next step. That's what you need to work on. Real simple, easy way to understand. Yeah, that right leg is just not doing so good today. I'm stopping, shaking out. Ideally, I do it in one single round, but sometimes you just got to modify your technique, modify your workout a little bit, and work with whatever you got. If you just don't have a lot of energy that day, well, you work with what you can do. You got to modify your plan. Yep. It's not doing so well. That leg is just shot. It's just so tired. It's cramping up on me. The quads are seizing. By the way, just as a side note, of course, I'm recording the audio here a few days after this. My legs were sore for 5 days after this workout. So anybody out there is like, oh, you can't get a good workout with body weight only. Oh yeah, you can. Definitely, for sure. Back when I was lifting weights, I always struggled to get sore legs. Body weight training always got me real sore because I could push myself harder. I don't have to worry about racking up heavy weights and whatnot. I could just push myself until the legs literally just give out, kind of like they did there. All right, enough of that. Time to do the explosive stuff. This is also very beneficial for me too because ski season's around the corner, and being explosive and having power under fatigue is crucial for the tree skiing and the mogul skiing that I like to do. See the legs, they just turn into lead. They're just absolutely heavy. They're done, they're shot. Last isometric here, the quads are burning. You see I'm a little bit higher there, I'm not as low. That's another thing I can be working on. The depth in the squat, keeping the tension in the squat. As I come on down, tension in the calves, tension in the shins, knees forward, hips back. Everything's feeling very good and strong here. I'm almost done. Of course, the heart rate's getting up a little bit. This is cardio as well, just as a nice little bit of extra conditioning. And the legs, yeah, I'm not walking for the rest of the day. And just because I'm a complete masochist, why not finish with a round of lunges? And again, sometimes finishers on these neuro sets, sometimes I do them just because I feel like it. Sometimes I don't. It's really just, what do you feel like kind of thing. My workout's already done. This is just kind of a little exclamation point at the end of the workout, if you will. Lunging for distance is a very good thing to do. I know sometimes lunges in just a room or spot lunges or just up and down a short distance, it's fine. But if you really want to challenge your legs, take a good amount of distance, like the length of this patio, and go for lunges on that for a great leg workout as well. So there you go. There's my leg day. Let me know if you have questions down below. Till then, be fit, live free.